Welcome back to part 4 of the drone build. The previous part we mounted our ESCs, we soldered them up, we zip tied them, and might I add, it looks pretty clean. And now we're going to be adding our flight controller, which is inside of here. Inside this pile of crap. We won't be using many of these wires in this case. But yeah, it's going to be going upright like this. We're going to be routing the signal wires from the ESC over to here. We're also going to be powering it up using this wire, which also has a signal wire routing. And then I believe we should be okay for now. We're also going to be mounting it using this hardware and soft mounts, which will decrease the vibrations when we do get it in the air, making it a lot smoother because it constantly takes readings with the gyroscope, and if there's vibrations it really messes up the calculations. So anyway, without further ado, let's move on. But there's one last thing. I figured out where everything needs to go by assembling it beforehand, and I figured out I need to put the battery strap on right now because it's going to be going on the bottom. So I'm just going to lay this like so, and then just put it in like that, and we'll go on from there. Alright, so we're going to be sliding in 4 of these 16mm screws out of my hand through the bottom, just like that. Flip it back over without having any of them fall out. Make sure the strap is still in place, that's pretty important. Okay, and now we're going to add some spacers. I believe these are 2mm thick. Slide them onto the screws. And now we have these little rubber soft mounts. They're pretty hard rubber, but just how it is. Okay, so now we are going to place the flight controller in. What's really important here is that we need the USB for access. When we were programming it, we need it accessible, so we can't have it facing inwards right here because we're going to be putting a bunch of other stuff here. We want it on either this side or this side, and for no particular reason, I'm just picking this side. I'm going to push that down. Ta-da! Alright, so now that the board's in place, we're going to start soldering using this wire. So this wire has a total of 6 cables on it, or 6 different routes. It plugs in right here at the bottom, no, the other way. And you can't see this on camera, but I'm going to explain it to you right now. So the way the power distribution board is with this, oh actually never mind, there's 8 wires on it, but anyway, the first wire going out here, ground wire, so that's going to be powering up our board, and this one is the 5 volts positive. We're going to be routing these two on the positive, the negative line, so we'll put it at the far end over here, and that's where these two are going to go. This is going to be powering up the board using 5 volts. Now, these other 4 wires are the signal for each ESC. So they go in line. This is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're going to be putting them in the signal section aligned with their numbers as well. So write it down about there. And then these other 2 wires are, one of them's unknown and the other one is for LEDs. I might put LEDs in the future, but for now I think I'm just going to remove these 2 wires. So I'm going to pull this out, use an X-Acto knife, and then just remove that little tab that's holding them in place. So it removes those 2 wires to the side that I won't be using. I just have these 6. I'm going to insert it into the power distribution board so it's held in place. And then now I'm going to shorten these wires to an appropriate length. I'm still going to give it a little bit of slack in case I need to disassemble this. Then right here I'm just going to pre-tin wherever it's going to go, and then just solder them up. Now that the flight controller is soldered up for the most part, I'm going to put another layer of soft mounts on. Over top of the soft mounts, I'm going to put these little plastic nuts. Ooh, don't lose them. So I suppose this is all for part 4, putting in the flight controller. I did happen to actually power it on, and there was no magic smoke, which is a very, very good sign. I don't recommend hard soldering directly to the flight controller like I did. It's pretty tough, but my soldering skills are adequate for doing that, so I did, and it turned out to be successful. So in the next part, we're going to be putting in our video transmitter. That's what it is. We're going to be doing some wiring to the power distribution board so we get the right voltage to it. And I believe after that, yeah, you're just going to find out in the future. Anyway, so far, so good. If I continue the way I'm going, it's going to be very, very good.